Welcome to today's webinar on addressing educational and skill deficit highlighted in the Union Budget 2024. I'll be moderating the session. I'm your host today. My name is Geetika Kohli. I'm heading the partnerships and alliances at TeamLease EdTech. So as many of you know, as all of you know, that the Union Budget has underscored several critical areas in education and skill development that need urgent attention. Today, we will delve into how we can address these issues effectively and through curriculum reforms, making education more affordable and accessible, integrating technology, supporting lifelong learning, and leveraging the role of premier institutes. I would like each of you to sort of, delve into these thoughts and share your insights.
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm Uday Shankar. I'm faculty at IIT Kharagpur. There's a department on intellectual property law. It is known as Rajiv Gandhi School of Intellectual Property Law. It got established way back in 2006, where we offer 3 programs, LLB, LLM, and PhD. On my professional front, I have almost around 20 years of teaching and research experience in educational industry, you may say. I also briefly hold a position of registrar and professor at National Law University, Raipur. Apart from that, at IIT Kharagpur, I had the privilege of serving the administrative offices like Career Development Center and also the Hall Management Center. So that is what briefly about me. I have done my legal education from University of Delhi, all 3 programs, LLB, LLM, and PhD I've done from University of Delhi. I also had a distinct, credit to my account is that I'm a Max Planck Fellow. I did visit Max Planck Institute of Public International Law and Comparative Law, which is in Heidelberg, and then I was a visiting professor at University of Hamburg Faculty of Law. And recently, I was a visiting fellow at University of Macerata, Italy. So this is what is my brief introduction. I do a research project for the Government of India. I have done research project on energy, transport, on doing a project on AI law, and also involved in a project on the establishment of a vocational university in the state of Assam, where Government of Assam is proposing to have a dedicated university on vocational aspects.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Tushar Jain. I'm a faculty member at IIT Mandi, in particularly School of Computing and Electrical Engineering. So my core research area is applied mathematics. But for me, having here today is because of the Center for Continuing Education that we have established in 2022. So where we are basically targeting to conduct the several certification and online courses. And also, since we are based in Himachal Pradesh, and we are also taking care about in fact, we have a strong mandate from the state government to run several courses for the rural and underprivileged youth of Himachal Pradesh. So I am heading the center for continuing education and also the dean students at IIT Mandi. So talking about education system, since in fact, my wife was teaching in the Finnish education system. So I had a kind of a comparative overview, or let's say the pros and cons overview of the Indian education system and also the Finnish and French education system. So it would be interesting to deliberate on these topics today, and also fulfilling the gaps of this skill development, and also, also the skill development mission that is being taken care by the central ministry.
Everyone, I'm Dr. Amit Dua. I work as associate professor at BITS Pilani. I am running my own startup for last 3 years that is working on deep tech. My reason for coming here is that I have written a book on machine learning for education, apart from other 6 books on zero knowledge proof, machine learning, cybersecurity, blockchain technology, etc. I have been actively involved in teaching and training many students across India and globe. I have been awarded with Doctor of Science as an honors graduate with one of the universities from America.
So just to start, I would like to, discuss about how can want to discuss about how can the reforming educational curricula ensure that graduates possess industry relevant skills, thereby enhancing their employability. So if there is anything that, you could throw light on, on this aspect.
So this is in fact the question of the hour or the discussion of the hour, CFTIs and also in the private universities. And since IITs, I would say that being an autonomous institute, so the curriculum revision is quite frequent. And I can say this, if I take a span of 3 to 4 years, I can say it in the real time. The curriculum is being revised. And with this autonomy, the kind of courses, the elective and the flexibility brought in the overall curriculum, although the students might be in a particular branch of engineering, say electrical, mechanical, but the kind of flexibility is embedded through this autonomy has brought many advantages to the students, particularly in the sense of the mechanical engineering student is not necessarily to be a core mechanical engineering. He or she could have several of the courses borrowed from computer science, data science, and also mathematics and computer science, computing, for example. So this is for the, I would say the regular degree programs, but also speaking in terms of the continuing education programs, which are certification courses or the online courses. Now, these certification courses are of a short-term duration instead of having this degree program for 3 to 4 years long. So with this short-term focused courses, the idea is to have the industry on board also, so that the student can do some kind of upliftment in their skills and get a job. And also it is the duty of the IIT to run those courses so that the students who are taking these short-term courses, but what I have seen that these students are basically from tier 2, tier 3 colleges. So these courses are means a lot to them. And since we have been creating these opportunities to them, so this can be added as a addition in their overall education development, I would say.
So you are saying students are able to upskill themselves and by these short-term courses, and that's how you're sort of looking at how the students can improve
True.
and upskill themselves.
Yes, particularly from the tier 2, tier 3 colleges.
Right. So that is so. What role do you what role can the industry and the academia partnership have to driving this kind of a thing? I mean, do you actually see there is the partnerships between the industry and the academia which could sort of help drive this initiative forward?
True. So the kind of courses what we are, I mean, because I can say what we are running here at IIT Mandi, that there are two types of industry engagement that we seek for. And it is also based on the background of the student. Since I mentioned earlier that being in the state of Himachal Pradesh, there is a large sector of rural and underprivileged students, and for them the avenue for the industrial job is slightly different from what you expect from the metropolitan cities. So here the youth, the Himachali youth want to get in. I mean, they either we see this from two perspectives. Either they should be self-employed or they should be working in some industries at the lower level job so that they can have a regular income, I mean to say. But for these online certification courses, there we tied up with the industries which conducts and gives them opportunity to appear in the interview based on whatever the skill courses we are running. So their sector is different.
Right. Right. So building on this, I wanted to understand how can the focus of affordable education address this rising demand for upskilling amongst these employed learners. So if something, we are talking of upskilling right now. So how do you think that education can, the focus can be on affordable education, which will help this to sort of push the, and address the demand for upskilling amongst these employed learners. If I can have Amit and Amit also sort of contribute to this, would be nice.
Yeah, let me just reiterate what has been discussed already in the budget by our Honorable Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman. So she has already reserved a corpus for 1 crore internships in the next 5 years. And that is in the Fortune 500 companies. If you can look at evenly, there are 20 lakh jobs that will be rather 20 lakh internships for 12 months that Fortune 500 companies need to provide. And for that, Government of India will be paying around 5K per month to those people who are doing internships. That is number one. The change has been there. Earlier, if you look at two branches of education, one has been technical education, in which I would say that there are engineers and doctors and lawyers, if I say, and there are other graduates, which are science, arts, and other streams, literature as well. The technical education, that's separate, but now even the mainstream other educations, which are for graduation, they also have to do internships. Others already had to do internship, lawyers, engineers, and doctors, but now Government of India had made sure that everyone has to do internships. And that is very, very, very welcome step. And I have been very pro internship right from day one, because we have seen that when the person enters into the workforce and does some meaningful job, that is 9 to 5 or some 7 or 8 hours a job, that makes him or her more responsible and makes him understand how the money works, how his or her value per unit of hour works. So this is very, very welcome step by Honorable Finance Minister to ensure that all the workforce who are in the graduation are entering through internship. Second step is the step for the loans that have been provided for upskilling them. There has been a provision of providing 7.5 lakh rupees to 25,000 people who want to upskill through skill education, like the one offered by the school in which Professor Tushar is working, and other schools as well, who want to upskill them. A loan of 7.5 lakh rupees for 25,000 students are provided. Even if the student wants to go for higher learning in India, a loan of 10 lakh rupees is also provided to them, which ultimately, if paid in time, is very, very minuscule for the interest part that roughly comes out to be 3%. So coming back to the point, which was how can we ensure that the affordable education is there, which is more skillful. One of the important points I would like to highlight is that the level of skill that is required in the industry and the level of education that we are providing, there is a huge mismatch, if I can say that. So this, through the internships, at least we are making sure that whatever the students are entering, that their aptitude and their mindset is for providing value to the industry, not for extracting. And their perspective is not, I have given number of hours, its perspective is how much value I have added to the company. So that can only happen in the industry, and the perspective to give and the attitude is fine line when they enter into the workforce. Through this systematic process, we are bridging the gap in which whatever the classroom education is or the practicals that they have been doing is tapered to go towards the value that is required in the industry.
Professor Uday, would you like to also comment on something what Amit just mentioned?
Yeah, so when you look at the issue of skill development and employability factor, I believe an important issue to really see that how the integration is happening between educational institution and the industry. And in this regard, I believe that the point which we really need to revisit and give a kind of emphasis is how are we really envisaging the collaboration. Somehow it has appeared that the collaboration has to be always with the institutions of great repute, with the industry of a similar repute. I would say that we need to be very realistic on this front, and we need to identify both educational institution as well as the one who can be very effective in enhancing the skill of the learner, regardless of what kind of standing in terms of reputation institution enjoys or the industry enjoys. I'll give an example to substantiate my point, wherein I was involved with a very good project on road safety funded by the government of West Bengal. And there we have undertaken a study on how driving schools are performing, because we know that we have to undertake a kind of a set of activities for getting the driving license. And it is a set driving schools are there which have got authorization from the government for imparting that training. Now, when I look at this scheme of having a driving school, having a proper authorization from the government, how the driving school is featuring in the entire understanding of road safety, you would find that they are nowhere featuring at the core of the entire activity. Now, what I suggest is that we need to come with some kind of plan where this kind of organized structure also become integral part of educational system. So what we did is that we had undertaken a sort of extensive training of all these driving schools which are operational in the state. We invited them here and we had a kind of training session for them where we gave them the knowledge about road safety, including the knowledge on law, policy, and then technical knowledge. And with that, we said that now you have a higher responsibility when you are imparting training for that license. You should also be passing on this information. And in turn, if you ask me that what is expected after this and where this bridge can be, really be done, in turn, there should be an assessment done that how this driving school is faring when they are giving the license, that the driver who has done the schooling from that driving school, how they are performing on the road. If there are cases of defaulting, then that should come to the kind of rating of the driving school. This is how you need to integrate. And then in that process, what will happen, that driving school will also get a recognition. Because one of the issues now when we talk about skill development is the branding. Somewhere a large population which requires the training, they are not getting the training either because of the very fact that the institutions are becoming unreachable, or somewhere they do not have the necessary knowledge, requisite knowledge to go for that. So we need to somehow address this difference. And I believe the initiative taken by the government can really work in that direction. This is what is a preliminary remark from my side.
But I also feel, adding to that, I also feel that, if we could design some strategies which are, cost effective in terms of the programs, which are being developed to address this, as well as maintain the quality while catering to this segment. I mean, it becomes very, very important to sort of create a cost-effective, approach here and create these. So that is something I think gets missed out somewhere, in the process, because when you're looking at quality, when you, like you rightly said, that we have to address it at every level. Like, it cannot be just with the top universities or associated with the top industry. So but because there is also cost attached over there, there is also, if you want to make it niche, then it becomes very very expensive for a average student to sort of get into that.
Point of cost effectiveness, I would like to just bring on to the point that if you are actually paying the peanuts, you will only attract the monkeys. I mean, that's the fact. So you need to really pay for what you are expecting. Still, the cost should not be borne by the students. Where will the money come from? If any company goes for hiring, let me take from the industry perspective, an HR manager goes for hiring, entire days of effort, the entire personal effort, and lot of humongous effort is required by the industry to hire a particular valuable, skillful talent for that particular industry. And the company pays a lot of money for that. And if a valuable talent is directly provided to the company in a responsible, ethical manner, the company is ready to pay a good amount of incentive for the skill development agencies for doing that. Many of the companies and startups are doing that to an extent in the area which I work in, blockchain. Many of the companies who are coming for, they are paying the students to get trained for, and ultimately they get money from the employers or the companies for the part that they get to train the students for. That's a very exciting model to work for. The students need not pay for it. the quality of the workforce is maintained by the outcome that is your skill development agencies are providing. So if I am running a skill development agency, my money primary source is not from the students. My primary source is how many students I am placing in an industry, and industry directly pays me. So I am directly incentivized for the quality of work, and the industry pays very heavily to the highly valuable workforce. I mean, to the proportion of the salary that the first day they joins in. That's one model. So even though directly student need not pay for it, but the industry gets it. Second point is the fact that there need to be a specific difference I need to point out from the organization who are institutions of higher education and the skill development. For the workforce that currently is there in the higher education, our workforce is not to just give them the first job. Our workforce is to create them leaders, specifically the panelists, the professors who are here. We are making them ready for next 30, 40 years. So in terms of the process, and just not the workers, it might be the leaders in that industry. And in that process, it might be a short-term hiccups that they may fail across, that they will feel that we are not even ready, or just 6 months or 8 months or 12 months job that they may be getting. Why pay 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs for premium universities education that is not worth for entering there? But understand that it's a different ball game. You cannot just look for one thing. It's a long-term race that you are prepared for. You're prepared for problem solving. You're prepared for being adaptable for different situations. Coming back to the workforce, which we want to cater in cost-effective manner, still make sure that they're ready enough to be there. There need to be proper industry people who can upskill them. We as a professors need to be realizing that we have done our graduation, post-graduation, PhD, and then into workforce. It might be possible that we might not have that direct experience, or even if we have it, that requires a different aptitude, which the industry might be requiring for different portions of time. It's a holistic thing that need to be addressed in proportion. So an industry expert, where some institutes are working as a professor of practice to make sure that professors from industry are coming to train students, which is highly valuable. But in terms of cost effectiveness, it is very important that that many industry already have the research and training centers. They come through to the organizations, and then they upskill them, for which specifically tailor-made program for their industries are taken care of. So at least these two things. Rest I will share with you what can be done for affordable and highly creating more skillful students across the nation.
So since we are already talking on this, we would want to understand what strategies could premier institutes then adopt to expand their reach. See, when you are saying cost effectiveness is important, right? I mean, you have to be cost effective to reach out. If you are not cost effective, then you're only reaching to the top, right? I mean, there are only the affordability factor. May not be the top, may not be the deserving, but only the ones who can afford it, right? So to sort of mitigate that and to reach out to most, what what strategies could premier institutes then adopt to expand their reach to these employed learners while ensuring that it's affordable and it's maintaining their high education standards? So something which will sort of create that path. And where do you think that education institutes like yours, what kind of strategies are they adopting to this?
Thinking after listening to this brief conversation on the affordability. So I was trying to think that why this question of affordability first of all arises. That is, and when we talk about the affordability, is it from the cost perspective or from the outcome of those certification programs? And those outcomes I do not quantify in terms of only in the employability, first of all, but also in terms of the undertaking of those courses, say for example.
So basically, I think to make that, so you're right when you say that there are two things, right? Where there are two aspects. But first, the affordability is there. That's how you sort of get them onto upskilling and doing those, taking that on and create or skill them to a level where it is high. The curricula is such that it is at a certain value, it is of certain importance, and that helps them with the employability. So it's all a circle, right? I mean, it's all a circle that we are
True.
sort of
Because
engaged in.
in
So
this
now I want to
skill
understand
development, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the skill development courses, although those courses are named by short-term courses, but they're also meant for the lifelong learning as well.
Yes, I
So
agree.
that's what I was trying to think. Because from the affordability, if it is only for the cost, because we have not seen any sort of challenges so far, I mean to say, for the courses which we are running, because we are running several types of courses where we are, obviously these are the youths, but these youths, either the state or the central ministry pays for them. This is one kind of program that we run. And in another program where the students directly pay.
Yeah. So, but I would still say that that is a very limited number. Now we want to increase that reach, right? It's still a very small number that we are talking of. I mean, right now the government, the push for the GER ratio to be increased, and the other aspects to be looked at. I think there are so many more aspects that we are looking at, and we are only still catering to a very small segment, if I can say that. So my
Mhm.
when you mentioned about the youth of Himachal and all of that, so is there some kind of initiatives that IIT Mandi is taking on to spread to every level and addressing it at every stage and every level? Is there anything that, from an institute's perspective, has been done
Mhm.
to improve that gap?
True. So this is a very good point that you have made out of this discussion. So in fact, IIT Mandi has taken several initiatives. So particularly starting from the secondary education,
Mm-hmm.
starting from, let's say, if I talk in terms of the class, starting from 7th or 8th class. So we organize several summer camps at different levels.
Okay.
So these summer camps are basically residential programs. So during the semester break, when we have the availability of the hostels, because in IIT the availability of hostel is also again a challenge.
Yeah.
So when we have those things, then in fact, we have almost 500 to 800 students, starting from 7 to 8 class until 12th class. I mean, this is only I'm talking about the school kids.
Right.
So there we make them engaged in several robotics and AI machine learning courses. Obviously, the course is tailored based on their prior understanding. Obviously, the same course we are running also for the undergraduate students also, who are coming from very diverse background, including BCA, BSc, BTech. So for those students, the level of the classes are slightly higher. And the another level is for the teachers, for the government school, for the government engineering colleges faculty members. So for them also, because they want such kind of the upskilling, because in these government engineering colleges, most of the faculties are only master's level.
Are we integrating this learning through technology and digital tools, or is it pure classroom? Because we
They are
also
pure
want to reach out,
classrooms.
right? We also want to
Yeah.
make this reach more wider than just limiting ourselves. So,
Hmm.
are we integrating technology and digital tools in this educational journey of there, or how does it work?
So particularly for the state, we run this program mainly in classroom teaching.
Okay.
So
Okay.
because for them it is easier to come to IIT Mandi, and also from many of them, what I've heard that it's a kind of dream for them that they couldn't achieve at that point. But now through these government initiatives and with the IIT input, they are able to sort of realize that they are kind of being certified. And also, just to add one more point, that our this PhD admission rules were quite stringent initially, but with the so much input of the government, we have also opened we have also relaxed the residential requirement for these government engineering faculty members who wants to enroll themselves into the PhD program at IIT Mandi. So they can still be employed at their colleges, so they can enroll in the part-time. And now there are no longer residential requirements. And also they don't need the GATE score also. So there are a lot of initiatives. And what I have seen, all these things have become possible when the state government and an IIT in that state works very closely.
So, okay. So the thing is that all three, actually 2, 3 government organizations come together, where the central government, the state government, as well as the NIT work together, and you're able to sort of develop and sort of do something more for the state in terms of education, improving the
Education, yeah.
and the
And
skill.
likewise, to have a better reach for the pan India, obviously there are several online certification courses, and also they have a kind of immersion programs,
Sure.
1 week, 2 week, depending on what is the duration of the program.
So,
Yeah.
Professor Uday, I wanted to ask you, how can government support for lifelong learning and upskilling help the workers stay competitive in this rapidly evolving job market? What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, interesting viewpoints are coming up on affordability, and I would like to just bring this perspective in this discussion, that when we talk about affordability, what factors we are counting in. Are we bringing the factor of the institution where the training is happening, the reputation of that institution? Are we counting the factor that who are being trained, what kind of background that person comes with? Or are we really looking into the very aspect that what kind of market that is going to get catered by that training? I believe affordability needs to get decided on these factors. So if you look at the real challenge which is there in this country on the skill side, it is largely of that population which are not really coming up to this ladder of the education. And thus, what is needed is to see that where the strength lies in terms of the knowledge base of the learner and the strength of the educational institutions like IITs, that how the strength of the learner, regardless of the qualification what they possess, that how that can further be strengthened, how that can further be made marketable or employable to that extent that market adds to their kind of added value. Market gives some kind of recognition to the value what they carry. I will give you with this example. I'll bring this example which will also in a way answer the question what you have raised. As a law student, I see that we have got a Minimum Wages Act, which is applicable state-wise. I mean, there is an attempt done to also come with a national floor wage, but state-wise it is state determines. If you look at it, you find that there are different structure of wage which is given: unskilled, highly skilled, semi-skilled. Now, what we need to look at in order to understand the affordability, and in order to understand that what kind of recognition, what kind of contribution this training is making, that what percentage of working force is shifting from unskilled to semi-skilled to highly skilled. You have already the indexing available in terms of these laws. So let's say if 2022, if 100 people have joined in unskilled, out of that 100 people, whether 50 are moving to that semi-skilled, and out of that 50 are moving to again, or 25 are moving to highly skilled. And if they are moving, what kind of role educational institutions are playing in upgrading the skill of that workforce? I believe there where we need to look at the engagement with the government, that how the government is helping the educational institution in identifying the workforce and then guiding the institution that what kind of a skill is needed for making a very impactful kind of contribution in the market. That's what I believe we need to do, so that educational institution, market, and the government coming together to identify the skill required, the training required, and accordingly the cost to be designed, considering the value with the training is bringing. That's what I believe would address the situation in a reconcilable way, I believe.
Okay.
Hmm.
Amit, would you like to add some thoughts here?
Yeah, of course. So India is progressing for sure. So a lot of construction is going on. When we say that how much upskilling is required, when we say that there are so much of construction, so much of houses, so much of building, so much of roads are being deployed, there is a huge requirement for our skilled workers to become more and more highly skilled for carpentry, for electrician, for plumbing, for painting, and everything. Here, it's important that I must say that there is a huge gap that the workers are working for 8-12 hours a day, but there is hardly an institution which is in place for them to take care of making them highly skilled. We have a proper unorganized sector for saloon workers who have their own way in which they can keep on upskilling them, because it directly pays them and it's directly commercial. Now, when I say that it is important to do that in a manner, it is responsibility of the topmost institutions to at least pave the way. It is important to say that Yajyat Achati Shrestha Attadev Sarojana. So whatever the topmost people do, others will genuinely follow that. We cannot leave everything to the unorganized and private sector. It is highly important to really tap up to the potential that yes, there are hands and legs which are provided by Industrial Internet of Things and AI and other things. However, it is important to make sure that you cannot make person from zero to do something. If person is doing something, you can make him or her highly educated. For that, education institutions like these are working properly. For making the people who are doing nothing to do them something, there is internships which are very important, which organizations and the Government of India is making sure that everyone who is graduating has done 12 months of internship, roughly around that. So from zero to some level that they taking care of, it is responsibility of education institutions like us to at least make some way across where find out where you can make a strong mark in a scalable manner, where someone who is there in a massive manner who is working in unskilled or semi-skilled work to make it highly skilled one. That is really very important. Some things which are going on in an online manner, but I must say that it need to be done in a more massive and humongous manner to make a massive change. This is something very important currently if the nation has to progress at an order higher pace.
What you're suggesting is that, so I want to understand, is there anything that any initiatives that the institute at your institute that you're doing so that to massify this entire impact? I mean, of course, we understand internships and everything, but it's very, as I again said, I'm coming back to the same thing, that it's still very limited, right? I mean, it's only that many students. So if there are 11 lakh or 12 lakh students who are taking an IIT JEE, only 2% are making to the IITs, right? IITs or triple IITs. What happens to the remaining? I mean, what happens to their skill force, or their upskilling? So this is very, very limited sort of things, that initiatives that an IIT. So my question again comes back to, what are we doing for the remaining? I mean, how are we helping massify this entire, thought that is there?
And
Of course, internships are important. Of course, the skilling is important. We all realize all these things. But then what is it that, what initiatives are institutes like yours? I mean, you're the top institutes who are sitting from all the top institutes here. What are these institutes doing to really actually massify this entire,
And I understand the pain point here. This is not a small pain point. And the pain point is reflected by the number of immigration centers which are opening and the people are moving away from the nation. I understand there are certain personal consideration. There is toxicity in the family because of the personal reasons they want to move out. But it is also very important that what are we providing as a nation to when somebody is graduating from any other institution apart from someone or including from the top institutions, what is it that the nation is providing in terms of first level job and the growth that is provided, lifelong learning in an affordable manner, so that at least they can enter into that curriculum. If I say that skilling curriculum, and then they can move it forward. It need to be not an entry barrier. Money should not be an entry barrier such a way that I want to upskill myself. However, I don't have any money for making sure that, and after doing that course or program, there is a probability that I might not get my due share, how much I have invested in ROI manner. So for that manner, I definitely say that there is a huge requirement. Some things which my organization is doing is in terms of online. We have a Bachelor of Science program, which is intern. So those people who cannot enter BITS Pilani, they have some way Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, they can do that. I must say that being a faculty member there are some courses which are highly industrial oriented. Specifically, they have to make the entire application top to bottom, which is sometimes that much rigor we have not been able to introduce or may be able to adopt to the changes because there is a Senate and other things that are required. Individually, course level, we as a professors have freedom. But since the curriculum, which is online, Bachelor of Science, and even work integrated, many programs which BITS Pilani is offering, I must say that this is more close to the industry which is being proposed and more aligned with the industry, where industry faculty and industrial things are working on. I also would like to say that there are, if I might not be able to recall the number, but there are 40,000, 50,000 students who are upskilling through work integrated learning program mode through our institution, which are being provided. That number is substantial number, but that number also includes the people who are already in workforce and they're upskilling themselves. So yes, those students who could not enter into top tier institutions, when I say top tier, it means that the institution which ensure them safety security for the value of investment they are doing it and making their talent whatever is highly there to nourish them and further enhance them. So yes, there is a huge requirement that is there, huge potential that is there for us as an institution, which together we are sitting to cater to them. On that level, I have been there to many institutions, trained them for 40 hours on my money on blockchain and other education. But I must say that there is still a huge requirement on the environment that per se, the students who are there, 4 out of 5 students are actually in the environment of really adding value to others. Even if you provide a lot of skill to them, there is other level of thing, which is an environment, which is a curriculum, which is a mood, which is a overall enthusiasm level, mindset, or whatever paradigm that you can say that need to be properly introduced, and that can only happen when the overarching effect that might be there in terms of that effect to make something. To cut short, to simplify, we are doing something, but is it enough? Way more need to be done.
Great. I think we have various understandings of your perspectives in terms of what the individual institutions are doing in this space to address the education and the skill deficit which is existing in the system. I don't think we all understand and we all agree that this is the pain point. There is a lot more which needs to be done in this segment. Of course, in our own very right, we are taking these small steps to whether it is upskilling of 40,000 students, or whether it's the road safety that sir mentioned, or whether it's the the government initiative at Himachal at IIT Mandi that you're all taking in. You're making your own individual efforts as well as the institution and the institution is also making efforts, but there's still a lot of scope to increase and to improve in this area, and there is a lot more that we need to think about. So I think I will sort of circle back and say that I will have to come back to you to say that maybe we'll next time try and explore deeper and dwell deeper into these aspects. We've right now just about touched the iceberg, like we are at the tip of the iceberg only. There is so much more that we can talk and in depth sort of discuss, and this is a never ending topic, and there are more and more suggestions and inputs that can be shared. So at this point in time, I can only say a very big thank you to all three of you who have joined and spared your time and shared your invaluable insights today, and we've had an enlightening discussion, different viewpoints, totally accepted every point which was shared today. Totally understand the effectiveness of those points, which could be and should be done by the others, and it should be adopted in a different way, or maybe in other other ways that the institute, the government, the various engines started when they start firing and run in that direction. I'm sure there is enough and more that you're doing at your level, at the institute's level. but a lot more can be done from the government perspective as well. I'm sure the government is also trying to do it, but somewhere we've got to bridge that skill gap, and we've got to bridge that gap from the industry perspective, from the academia perspective, and also from the government perspective. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your thoughts, your inputs. We really had a very, very insightful session.